I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball playing, like Bird or Magic or something. But if I leave, the fans still gonna love me, man.
What's up, guys? Trilogy here. Today we're going to be doing a ranking for the latest addition to the MCU show log, with She-Hulk just now finishing. So, you know, whenever a new show comes out, we redo this tier list. I have the list here. I couldn't find one for just TV shows. I know I could have just made it myself, but I'm lazy. So this actually includes, like, it looks like all of the MCU shows, but we are just doing the TV. This includes like every MCU entry, like even The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is on this list, and we don't need all that, but we're just gonna be doing the 8 MCU shows. And so, starting off, I think my least favorite MCU show, we're gonna work from worst to best. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. I do curated playlists. I have movies, TV shows, manga, tech, books, all kinds of stuff on my channel. I'm just like a melting pot, as they used to say in school. But the last one, the 8th show in the MCU, is, in my opinion, Hawkeye. I was never a big Hawkeye fan to begin with. I think I liked him better in the comics, but even then, I wasn't a big Hawkeye fan, you know? So, in my opinion, Hawkeye is going to be my least favorite MCU show. And if I can find it on this big old list, oh, there it is, Hawkeye right here. If I could find it on this list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the D tier. That's how I feel about Hawkeye. Good news is we can only go up from here. I wasn't really a big fan of it. I did like the Christmas New York setting. That was kind of cool. But besides that, I didn't really mess with Hawkeye. Or even the new Hawkeye played by Haley Steinfeld. I think that's her name. She's cool in general. I think she's a really good actress. I liked her in Dickinson, which is an Apple TV exclusive. Not what we're talking about, but also really good show. Better than Hawkeye. Number 7 on this list, we have Miss Marvel, which I did like the cultural difference. We haven't had I'm sorry, I don't want to say it wrong. I believe Miss Marvel is Muslim. Sorry if that's incorrect. But regardless of that, we haven't had that kind of, you know, Indian culture. Pakistani, I apologize. She's Pakistani. I remember now. That was actually a big plot point in the show. I did like her perspective. It was kind of weird how her parents went from overprotective to, hey, yeah, you should be a superhero. But that's just support, and does get tiresome having parents who try to keep our heroes from doing superhero stuff, even though that's just what good parents would do. So in this case, they were like, you know what? Forget what good parents would do. Let's just support her. So I did like that. The time travel episode didn't really make sense to me. I thought they were going to do more with the clandestines. I thought they were really interesting considering they came from a different world. And at the time, we were just coming off of Doctor Strange with multiple timelines and worlds and all of that stuff. So I thought it would be interesting, but that plot kind of fell flat to me. I want to say it was the villains and maybe the pacing, but overall, it was pretty good. We did get the first mutant name drop, but I didn't like how they changed her powers. But in the last episode, we did see her shape change into Miss Marvel, or Captain Marvel. So maybe they will have the original powers. We don't know. It's only season 1. Hopefully we'll get more answers in The Marvels, which is where Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel appear next, I believe. But if I had to rank it, I would probably say Miss Marvel is probably going to go into our C tier. Not as bad as Hawkeye, but we're in the C tier, and you know, we still have 6 more shows to go, so it only goes up from here. Up next, we're going to have our 6th best show, which is going to be The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is the longest show name that we have on this list, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's like abbreviated on my list. That's how long the name is. I did like the Bucky and Sam routine where they bounce off of each other, because usually they have more conflicting personalities, although in this show they are more unified, but they still do bounce off of each other. The Flag Smashers weren't really interesting. The main girl dying at the end. Them making the blonde lady, Agent Carter's granddaughter or daughter or whatever, making her a bad guy. I didn't like that either. I did like the inclusion of Baron Zemo. We did get some Wakanda in there. Overall, this is probably like average. Everything under this show is like below average, and everything above this is probably above average. This is probably like the average MCU show, even though I am going to be placing it in are C tier, and I'm going to organize these later, but for now I'm just going to put them on here. On our next spot, we're going to have our number 5 slot, which this might be the actual average one, because this is going to be for WandaVision. WandaVision was super slow at the beginning, like it's so slow. I was like, what is this? But once you get to like episode 3 or 4, it starts to go up, and then it just keeps going up for the rest of the season. So because of the later half of this season, and the Agnes the Harkness inclusion in there, I just have to say this show is going to be number 5. Is it quite C tier? I'm going to say yes, but it's going to be like a high C tier. I don't think it's going to be a B tier show quite yet, just because of how slow the beginning was. So I'm going to throw this in high C tier. I'm going to put it, let's see, do I like Miss Marvel more than... I think I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier more, so I'm going to leave that how it is. So we have Hawkeye in D tier, Miss Marvel, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then WandaVision. Up next, which was actually a pleasant surprise since I didn't know much about this character at all. But number 4, we're going to have Moon Knight, which I wasn't like super excited to watch this every week, but it was one of the few shows that I was like, there's a new episode out. I should check that out. So I do think Moon Knight is probably, despite the weird plotting kind of, I did like Oscar Isaac's acting, amazing. I'm gonna throw this in the B tier. This is gonna be our first B tier show. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't like the giant kaiju fight at the end. I thought that was a little weird, but I thought the dynamics between Layla and then Mark and Steven and even Jake at the end, I think it was pretty cool. I liked seeing the afterlife, although I do want to know how real that is. Is that just for the Egyptian people, or is that for everybody in the MCU? Because afterlife has been confirmed in the MCU via this show. But yeah, that's going to be our number 4. Up next is going to be our What If show, which I really liked What If. Even though it is animated, I think I'm just going to go ahead and throw this into the A tier. We're going to jump above the B tier. This is a pretty good show. The first couple episodes, I was like, yeah. But overall, the interarching multiversal plot, which I love alternates and variants and stuff like that. I loved seeing the Infinity Ultron, because Age of Ultron in the comic books is very different than the movies. Like, Ultron is just completely different in the comic books compared to how he is in the movie. And I thought this was like the first true showing that we saw what Ultron could actually do, even without the Infinity Gauntlets. Like, the man killed Thanos instantly, which I didn't really like that because it was a little too easy, because Vision had that same gem. Why couldn't Vision do that? But hey, I thought What If was really good. I did like the variants, all of that. And you saw it. We jumped right into the A tier with that one. So I really like this one a lot. Up next, we're going to have number 2, which I love time travel. I love variants, like I just said, multiversal stuff. So up next, we're going to have Loki, which I really liked Loki. Before our number 1 pick, this was probably my favorite MCU show. So Loki, I'm trying to decide, is it A tier or S tier? And I think Loki is going to be high A tier. So that's where I'm going. Finally, I got the Loki symbol, and we're going to put that in high A tier on this tier list. And for the last show, which for a while, this show is probably my second favorite show. While I was watching, I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good show. This is a pretty good show. I'll give them that. But I am a sucker for sitcoms, and I think that's why this show is really my number 1. Despite the lore changes, the mishandling of the Abomination, and the kind of low stakes that this show has, I did enjoy seeing Daredevil there. I know a lot of people don't like funny Daredevil, but She-Hulk is probably my favorite MCU show so far. I was worried that the increase from 6 episodes to 9 episodes would be... So obviously, based off of that description, you know that number 1 is going to be She-Hulk. And was it S tier? That is the question, huh? Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect, but I think I enjoyed every single episode of She-Hulk. So like, I just feel like I really, like I said, no complaints about anything but the Abomination and the low stakes of the show. But I mean, she's a lawyer, you know? So I am excited to see who she'll work for next season. But I think I am going to place She-Hulk on, I don't think it's quite S tier, honestly. S tier is like the perfect show, you know? So in this case, I do think we're gonna go ahead and throw She-Hulk on the very, very, very high A tier. It's not quite S tier, but it is a very good show. So there's my rankings, guys. If it doesn't take too long, let me see. So while we're here, I have seen some of these other shows on this tier list. Iron Fist. Iron Fist we'd probably put in the D tier. Runaways season 1 was actually really good. I'd probably put that high C tier. Luke Cage, I wasn't actually all that into Luke Cage. I'd probably put it above Hawkeye. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually started off really good, but it did even out towards the end, so I'd probably put it low B tier, high C tier. The Defenders, although they only got that one season, I thought it was cool seeing all of them together. I'd probably give it C tier. I never watched Agent Carter. Jessica Jones, I actually did like Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones. I think Jessica Jones season 1 is A tier, but I think season 2 is B tier. So I'm gonna put Jessica Jones high B tier. Cloak and Dagger was all right. I actually didn't finish all of it. I'd probably put it in D tier above Luke Cage. Inhumans, I know a lot of people hate Inhumans. I'd probably still throw it in D tier, but in front of Hawkeye. And then for the Punisher was good. I'd probably put Punisher in between WandaVision and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier on C tier. But yeah, guys, that's my tier list. I'm glad you guys stuck around to see it. It's letting me move these, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this on here. Iron Fist. I actually forgot what I said about Iron Fist, but I liked it more than Hawkeye. Runaways, is it gonna let me grab it? No, it's not. Tier list maker, man. Sometimes it works and then sometimes it doesn't. So Runaways season 1 was really good. But season 2 was not as good. So I'm gonna throw it right here after Falcon and the Winter Soldier just because of that first season. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually really good at the beginning. Like really good. Like it's hard to say for sure where I would put it because of how many seasons it has and the fact that I never finished it. But just because it has a catalog, I'll probably throw it right here in front of Agents. I know I might be saying something different, but I am going off the top of my head on these shows. The original Daredevil, first 2 seasons were really good. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 was good, and I didn't watch season 3 all the way through. But based off of that, I would probably put Daredevil in front of WandaVision. Defenders, 1 season, got to see everybody together. Did I prefer that over Daredevil is the question. I like Jessica Jones a lot. So just because of Jessica Jones' inclusion, I'm gonna put it above Daredevil, but overall Daredevil was a better show probably. That first season had a lot more, quality versus the Defenders 1 season. Cloak and Dagger, probably put that right here above Hawkeye. Inhumans, which I like the concept of, the implementation was not as good. So let's see if it'll let me move it. Inhumans, we'll put that above Hawkeye. And then Punisher, I actually like Punisher really much. Was there a season 2? If there was a season 2, I don't think I watched it, but I do remember season 1. Ooh, do I like it better than Daredevil? No, I think we're gonna put the Punisher right here in front of WandaVision. So there you go, guys. You can see my tier list. No S tier shows, but I do like She-Hulk a lot. Loki was also really good, and What If was also really good. Those are like my big 3 based off of this Phase 4 initiative. As you can see, most shows are C tier, but we do have a few outliers. We have the 5 above C tier, and then we have the 5 below C tier. Granted, I haven't seen Agent Carter, so that's fair. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you want to see more content like this, I definitely recommend you subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Trilogy out.
I love the hustle, man. I be feeling like one of them ball playing, like Bird, Magic or something. But if I leave, the fans still gonna love me, man?